catching heat online after saying he feels Family Matters is left out of legacy black entertainment and Family Matters always ranking last on the polls of favorite black shows underneath Martin and Living Single. If it's not a hood story, it's not a black story.
Whoa! I don't understand what he's mean. Listen, Family Matters is a legacy when it comes to sitcoms back in the day. And what he can't worry about is when publications or media outlets talk about, let's talk about the culture.
This is for the cool.
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times channel.
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome back to the Dark Times channel. And before I get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel, you've been enjoying the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. We got to talk about none other than Jaleel White, aka Steve Urkel.
Can I do that?
Triggered some people recently when he made some remarks on how black culture feels about Family Matters.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. You know, blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story.
And I want to talk about why he made those remarks and why he said what he said, because I definitely don't agree with them, and most people within the community wouldn't agree with him.
He's mistaken. I'm not sure where he's getting his information from, but hey, listen, it resonates with all of us. The Cosby Show, Family, all that is under the same umbrella.
That wasn't nothing, and the Cosby definitely wasn't no damn hood.
And so absolutely, in the 80s and the 90s was the golden era of so-called black cinema and what black cinema was supposed to be.
Look, I'll call you next week and we'll iron out the details, okay?
Yeah.
It was great seeing you, son.
You too. Lou?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Will.
You know what? Actually, this works out better for me. You know, the Slimmies of summer come to class wearing next to nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Will, it's all right to be angry.
I ain't need him then and I don't need him now.
Will.
Nah, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids. How come he don't want me, man?
But when I ask, will you be coming back soon? Said you never. Yeah. I'm a man. I hope my Jojo, Devante, now down and they always start to cry. Damn it, down and they always start to cry. It could be good. It could be. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Yeah.
And there wasn't anything hood about any of these shows or any of these sitcoms that were on television during that time. And so, of course, I can't speak for Jaleel White, but what I think Jaleel White is really speaking to is the fact that Family Matters was kind of lumped in with some of the shows that white America watched.
And, you know, sometimes I feel left out of that, you know, so it's like, you know, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite black shows? And, you know, Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those guys, I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high.
And so absolutely, that's probably the one thing that I do agree with Jaleel White on. It was exclusively a family show with a lot of slapstick humor.
Will you go to the dance with me? No.
It's Urkel's first homecoming dance on Family Matters. Then Frank needs some first aid. Step by step.
And something that I would compare Family Matters to when we're talking about the dichotomy between shows, I would compare it to how white America views the show Step by Step, which was also another TGIF show lineup, and how white America views the show Friends. Both great shows in their own right. Both of them had long runs, very successful. but they're viewed completely different by people within their communities. They're separated. They're not equal. When people bring up Friends, people talk about that's the greatest show of all time. Same thing with Seinfeld. You can flip-flop them, cut them up however you want to, but those are probably the two top shows within white America. But nobody ever bothers to bring up the show Step by Step because it was primarily or exclusively a kids show. And so it gets rightfully put in its own category. And this is something that Jaleel White knows. And I could gather that maybe Jaleel White is perhaps trying to promote his book. Or perhaps Jaleel White is probably a little bit bitter. And it's not any doing of our own, but the same thing that happened to Jaleel White is the same thing that happened to a lot of character actors like a Kramer. After Kramer did that role, Kramer couldn't be taken seriously doing another role. Because after he played Kramer for so long, that's all he ever was to everybody. He was Kramer. On the streets, he was Kramer. And it's the same thing with Jaleel White. After Jaleel White did Steve Urkel for so long, he couldn't be seen as any other character. It was impossible. At least that's what a lot of the producers said within Hollywood. That's why he was never really casted for any serious roles after that, not any mainstream roles at least. Because they were afraid that the audience was only going to see Steve Urkel. And it's true. He did the character so well and he did it for so long, that's all the audience was ever going to see is Steve Urkel. And so I can only imagine as an adult, having a family, being out and about, and everywhere you go, you're Steve Urkel. You're not Jaleel White. You can't be recognized like Denzel Washington could be recognized or a Will Smith can be recognized. No, you're Steve Urkel. And so subsequently, I think that some of this passive-aggressive energy that Jaleel White has towards the so-called black community in regards to the show is a direct result from that. But that's all I had on this one. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button before you leave. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And as usual, peace, chaos.